Everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Beer with Brian, a monthly program of the Coffin Comics Sworn Club. This is an informal conversation where we just talk about pop culture, what's going on, and there's an opportunity for you all to ask me questions, a very informal Q&A. So here we are, November, can you believe it? A week away from Thanksgiving, holy mackerel. But it's also a very energetic, electric time here at HQ because we are moving. We are moving from current HQ, which we love and adore, to new HQ, which is basically HQ on Italian Gothic steroids. We are moving from a 4,000 square foot facility to a 10,000 square foot campus. And if you are interested, you will be able to get a tour of it beginning February 23, 4, 5 at Swell Fest. So I'm being reflective about our time here at HQ, and tomorrow night is our Hell Witch closing event, but it's also our farewell event to HQ. So we'll give y'all a little bit of a exit tour and maybe show you some things you've never seen before at HQ. Because who knows, now that we're moving on out, there may still be surprises. Jimmy Coffin, isn't that true?
That's right. Secrets will be revealed.
Secrets will be revealed. So without further ado, happy to open up the floor to any questions. What I can tell you recently is I've been having some fun. As some of you may be aware, I went out to Michigan, spent time at Still Ill Comics, Dan Mendoza, my ally, and we went to the Metallica weekend together. We recorded video after video. We collabed and kind of continued to concoct the Lady Death vs. Zombie Tramp Kickstarter. So plans are afoot, everybody. What is up with you?
Do you have any plans to see the new Thanksgiving horror movie?
I will eventually see the new Thanksgiving horror film. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I'm doing anything except my daily work and moving HQ for the foreseeable future, for the next 3-4 weeks. Candidly, like even Thanksgiving is like the day off, and then the day before, the day after, like there's literally no days off. Part of my accountability at Coffin Comics is to take down and store the great majority of our archive and everything that's decoration, because that element of new HQ will not be complete by the time we move here. We have sold this building, and my accountability is to get it out, get it staged in an offsite warehouse, bring it back in. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to see it in theaters, but I'll see it. Of course, it's your boy, man. I watch every horror film.
So Eric Hart wants to know if there's any other guests for Swell Fest besides the one announced.
Well, we've announced 15 guests for Swell Fest besides the Coffin crew. You never really know, but as of right now, that is the majority of our guests.
Okay, here's one from Victor.
One thing I can tell you, though, about Swell Fest is, since I am like neck deep in working on it, if part of what Coffin Comics is we make comic book limited editions. This will be like an explosion. I think people can expect at Swell Fest, the attending artists are very likely to have an exclusive. However, those of you who've been to Swell Fest know that we just drop radical exclusives all over the place. And this will be like a monumental expression of that. And I have no apologies for it, but like, you are warned. Like, limited editions abound. So, woof.
Ronnie says, you work too damn hard, and we thank you.
Thank you. I was born to work. If you knew my family, where I came from, I come from hard-working, blue-collar stock. My mom was a waitress back in the day where, like, you could be a waitress or a cook or a chef, and that you could make a living at it. So she was the lead waitress in a beautiful restaurant on the New Jersey shore. Later in her life, she became a librarian, which was super duper cool. My father was many things in his lifetime, but a chef. And I just come from work and stock, man. That's it. Like, it's work. And so my dad was predominantly Spanish from Spain. My mother was predominantly Irish from Ireland, and her entire family. Her maiden name was Lenehan. So we're talking like you go back to the next generation. These are people who came from those countries. They came to America to seek a better life. And what they did when they landed was like, probably think both my grandfathers, they just started out digging ditches, that kind of stuff, anything to make a living. So I think the work ethic is baked into the DNA and then reinforced by the examples of my parents who were all about like, go, go, go. The main thing my father would always tell me in my life, and I love both my mother and my father, but my father's whole thing for me is like, make it happen. Make it happen, make it happen. I could still hear him in my head. It was like, make it happen. That was his answer to everything, If you're down in your dumps, get up, make it happen, like anything. That was the answer. And it just, it seems to work in my case.
So Victor is saying, hello, Mr. Pulido.
Victor, how are you?
Just picked up the story again. Have you intended moral questioning of the characters to be in the stories, or am I trying to rationalize meaningless suffering?
I think, like, for most of the characters, in the case of Lady Death, it's really a story of persistence. But if you go back and look at this Lady Death arc since we re-began her during the Coffin Comics era, we are toggling through several questions, which would be, and they're kind of buried into the story. And it's like, what is the nature of being a hero, an anti-hero? What really has value? And for a character like Lady Death, who seen by some could be a villain, or she could be seen as an anti-hero, she herself is toggling with that question. Right now we're getting ready to ship to everyone out there Lady Death chapter 18, Imperial Requiem. And that question comes right to the fore, because Lady Death sees a group of characters that are super heroic, and in the face of all obstacles, in the face of utter nihilism, they still choose heroism. And Lady Death is observing this and actually learns a lesson. So we do bake in lessons for the character, and the same thing. I would say that the character Hell Witch is more like morally open and utterly ambiguous, and like completely leans into the hotter emotions. She's less introspective. She's in a phase of her life where she's just like all about being angry and expressed and sexual. I think the character La Muerta is a lot more contemplative, and that whole story really is about what is the cost of choosing a quest for vengeance. Like, what is the cost to your soul? I believe so. Each of these characters, I believe, are exploring these different topics.
Philip is saying best wishes on HQ and happy holidays.
Thank you, Philip, and happy holidays to you.
Let's see. Eric wants to know, when will those Sworn Fest exclusives pre-orders go live?
So we will have the official Sworn Fest pre-orders available to those who buy a membership to Sworn Fest. It will launch January 26th, probably last 5 days. And you could count on everyone who's been announced as a guest will have at least one exclusive. And then you don't know what's going to be there when you get there. When you get to Sworn Fest, when you get to New HQ, you don't know what will be offered.
Solomon wants to know, is there going to be a Lady Death Omnibus Volume 2?
We are committed to omnibuses for all the characters every 10 chapters. But what that'll mean is we would probably offer them a year or two after the 10th chapter. So Lady Death chapter 20 will be August of 2024. So we would project to offer Volume 2 Omnibus in 2025 or 6. That's just the way it goes. La Muerta 10 will actually be next May. And that'll be La Muerta Lady Death Inferno. It's really a crossover conflict kind of story. Two characters want the same thing, but for different reasons, and really are at war. So as soon as we get 10, and then a year or two later, we'll look to offer such a thing.
So Brian is asking that you answer a question, but Brian, I don't see your question in the comments, so please repost that.
Repost your question. I'll answer.
Oh, Mr. Goat wants to know any chance of, or do you have any news from the Femme Fatales PVC statues?
So that statue line has not continued. However, internally, we have worked with artisans to create 3 all-new PVCs. They're one for Lady Death, one for La Muerta, one for Hell Witch. They are gorgeous, and they either stand on their own or they interlock and they battle. So we are likely to offer that in some manner in 2024. We're still deciding our strategy. And they're gorgeous.
And Victor's saying he asked that question because he's writing an essay on Lady Death, is one of media's perfect flawed protagonists.
Cool.
The whole theme being contrast and duality, nothing as what it seems.
Yeah, awesome. I think that sounds very exciting. That's cool. I mean, one of the guiding notions for Lady Death for me comes from issue number 1, page 1. And a caption says, to know her story is to know a woman cursed. And so even like if Lady Death has a small victory, a curse, something will change the value to negative. You know, that's just the nature of the character.
Is there anything planned for Black Friday?
I am so glad you asked. Black Friday from Coffin Comics starts next Wednesday. So it's Black Friday starting next Wednesday from Coffin Comics. Now, I'm not one for hyperbole, but what we have for you is outrageous. We have new work by Colette Turner, Mike Crone, Sora Sung, Jose Varice, Joel Gomez. It's bananas. So if you are not, sign up to our newsletter. Sworn Club members get news on Monday. Everyone else in the world gets news on Tuesday. And we will be doing video previews, and you get to get a look at everything. Also, it's Black Friday. So in the spirit of Black Friday, expect discounts on evergreen items, and the vault shall be open. There'll be a multitude of surprises. But that's not all. 'Tis the season. Since Coffin Comics is moving, we are kicking off a moving sale. We're going to kick off. When are we doing that, Jimmy Coffin? Friday? Tomorrow is going to be a flash moving sale all the way till Tuesday. We don't want to bring it with us, so you get to take it home. So please sign up for the newsletter. All those details are in it.
Eric wants to know, could you give us a history about Lady Death's family?
I could only give you the history of what is known and written. So from the current continuity, Lady Death, her parents were married to what she knew were Marion and Matthias. And unbeknownst to the general world, Matthias had a tryst with an angel named Serena. Serena was actually Lady Death's birth mother. But Serena, never having empathy like a real mother, bequeathed her daughter Hope to Marion. So for the longest time in story time, over 800 years, we all believe that Marion was actually Lady Death's mother. And I guess spiritually, certainly she is. But her birth mother was a woman named Serena. She lived a privileged life, almost like a princess. But for those who've read it, Matthias and his castle in that world was very oppressive. And Matthias was what's called a feudal lord. And that's a little taste of it. We're going to actually explore this element of her life in much more detail in 2025. The storyline in 2025 will harken back to Secret Origins.
Yeah, nothing new right here.
Right on.
So with Thanksgiving coming up, what are the Pulidos going to be thankful for at Thanksgiving?
The Pulidos are thankful for their entire life. We're very grateful to Sworn Nation, to the folks who work with Coffin Comics, the phenomenal talent that contributes to Coffin Comics, the notion that there can be success in comic books, which is a very, very challenging business, ever changing. So we are eternally grateful. And of course, Sworn Nation in particular.
How about that Kickstarter?
How about that Kickstarter, everybody? So look, we're going to wrap this one up this way. There are 24 hours or less left to back Hell Witch Bitchcraft. And don't get it twisted. This is a crucial story in Hell Witch's life and features sex, violence, and twists you may not have ever assumed. So this is not like a pass this one over. It's crucial. The artwork by Diego Bernard is unbelievable. So if you haven't, please back this campaign because it's crucial to next year's gigantic storyline, Hell-ageddon. So also, please back Lady Death versus Zombie Tramp. Dan Mendoza and Still Ill Comics have done a phenomenal job. It's an exciting, vibrant campaign. And in Dan's wonderful style, he is presenting so many cool things, such great goods. And we couldn't have a better ally than Dan. Especially having, I've spent tons of time with Dan, and he is just a good dude. So if you can find it in your heart, back Hell Witch now, right after this broadcast, and then go right after and go get Lady Death versus Zombie Tramp. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today to Beer with Brian, which is a program of the Sworn Club for November. Have a very wonderful Thanksgiving season, but tune in tomorrow for the Hell Witch closing event and the HQ farewell event. Thank you so much, everybody.
Is that all you got? You look like you're ready to die.
Lick my boots, dead girl.